This is my 2024 LEGO Star Wars Clone Army Showcase video, and I am stoked to be able to share it with you guys today. My very first Clone Army on this channel was 13 years ago in 2010, and at the time I only had 225 Clone Troopers. The most recent Clone Army video I made was 3 years ago in 2020, and I had 868 Clone Troopers. At the time, I said I'd wish I'd pass 1,000. Well, in this video, I have over 1,800 LEGO Clone Trooper minifigures. It's just insane how many I have amassed. It's like tears of joy, and it's insane how much credit card debt I'm in. Now, for something that might shock you, this is not every clone minifig or vehicle that I have in my collection, and later in the video, I'm going to explain exactly how my collecting habits have changed and show you where the rest of my clone army is, because there's at least 4 Republic gunships just not here. But we'll get to that. Let's start with the clones. Starting with some of the leaders of the Clone Army, we have Rex and Cody. The Cody is a custom. The Rex is the official from the Venator. In between them is a custom Anakin and Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars. To their right, we have maybe the worst LEGO Clone Trooper ever with Commander Fox. Then we have some classics. Then we have a couple Clone Army Customs figures there. And then I actually, for the first time ever in a Clone Army video, have a few decaled Clone Trooper minifigures. I bought these from my buddy Rod. They're just some interesting, unique designs, and I thought they'd be fun to spice up the army. Behind all that, I have a custom Commander Wolf and a custom Wolfpack Troopers. We also have a 2010 Episode 3 Clone Trooper from the Swamp Speeder. We've got the 2017 Clone Gunner. We have a custom Clone Trooper I made that I sanded the fin off of and then put whiteout on the head. It looks really, really bad, but he's been a staple of my clone armies over the years. He literally was like one of these figures. Anyway, we have a really cool looking teal GCC Phase 2 Clone Trooper there. I'm not sure what the Legion is, but he looked really dope. We've got the official LEGO Commander Wolf, and then 4 different Episode 2 style Clone Troopers there. Next up, we have a couple Clone Army Customs. I believe Commander Doom, but I can't remember exactly. And then one of my oldest customs I own that I traded for with my buddy Sean back in the day. It's a custom Aerialite Snowtrooper Commander Rex from the Clone Wars, and I love having this fig in the army. Behind all that, I have 40 different monochrome clone troopers, ranging from normal solid colors to translucent colors to satin colors to sparkly colors. It's all over the place, and it's really fantastic to have in the collection. However, these technically aren't officially released products. It's really questionable where they came from, possibly very likely the factory in Mexico, but they do look really dope to have in my army, so I'm not asking any questions. And LEGO has never came out with a statement saying don't buy them or don't support them, so I just like having them in the collection. For a long time I did not go out of my way to buy them, but over the last couple years I definitely cracked. The next row back is 24 beautiful 2005 era Clone Troopers. Then we have 10 of the 2005 Clone Pilots. I didn't even know I had 10. We've got a couple 2010 pilots, a couple pilots from later on, and then we have a couple of 501st pilots. Then we've got my small 327th Legion, and then a couple GCC clones that I don't know the name or Legion of either. Next, we have some amazing official figures with 7 of the Phase 1 Wolfpack Troopers, 5 of the Phase 2 Wolfpack Troopers, and 12 of the 2014 Phase 2 Episode 3 Clone Troopers. And a lot of these I did end up picking up through the app Whatnot, which has been an incredible way for me to build my army. This video is not sponsored by them, but I have been using it to get a lot of these cooler Clone Troopers that you'll see, including like these multicolor ones. Let's get that final row in here with the ARC Trooper along with the nice ARF Trooper behind them. There's one ARC Trooper and 2 ARF Troopers for every row there. Then we have Commander Bakara from Clone Army Customs alongside a couple of Galactic Marines. I still think Galactic Marines are the highest Clone Trooper on my wish list for LEGO Star Wars to make. They've made so many different variants at this point, but after all these years, there's still not been a Galactic Marine. Then we have Commander Neo along with a couple of 2005 Recon Troopers. We've got 6 of the 2007 Shock Troopers, a pair of 2014 Shock Troopers, and the 4 behind them are customs from GCC. Moving into some of the larger clumps of Clone Troopers here, I have 108 of the 501st Jetpack Trooper. 6 of them are missing their rifles. I don't know how I lost 6 rifles, but they still look very cool. There are 108 in total, probably more than I need to be honest, but then again, that's all of this, but yeah, 108 of those ones. Then I have just 24 of the 2011 Bomb Squad Trooper. This is one that I used to have more of and ended up selling a bunch of when they were maybe worth $3 or $4 a piece because I wanted to buy something else from Lego. I can't even remember what it was, but I do regret that because I do think they're one of the cooler clone troopers that Lego Star Wars has made, and they'll probably never make them again. So I do really love that bit of orange in there. There's some more orange behind them with 144 of Ahsoka's 332nd Legion. Now, all of the ones you see here are from the AAT set that came out in 2020, not the 2023 332nd Battle Pack. The reasoning is twofold. First off, I bought them before the Battle Pack came out or there were any rumors of a Battle Pack. But second off, helmet holes. None of these have helmet holes, so I think they look fantastic, and I'm very happy with them. Behind them, we have just 48 of the 187th Legion. I honestly thought I would end up getting more of these, but 48 is probably just too many anyway. I feel like this whole video would be like, wow, it's cool that I have that many. Also, that's too many. So yeah, 48 of the 187th Troopers. The next two rows are custom 2020 style Phase 2 Clone Troopers with GCC helmets and custom UV printed torso and legs. I think they look fantastic. I sold quite a few on MandRshop.com and over the summer at a convention. That's why I had them made, and I kept quite a few for myself because I thought they looked beautiful. Now, the next few rows are all Battle Pack figures. So we've got some 2014 Utapau Trooper Battle Pack figures, 2015 Senate Commando Battle Pack figures, although now that I point them out, I remember people say Senate Commandos aren't clone troopers every time I put them in a clone army, so get that comment in. Then we've got a couple of Geonosian Battle Pack clone troopers. I'd love to see them revisit some Geonosian clone troopers. Those ones look pretty sick, but I don't have a lot of them. Next, we have some figures from the 2013 Episode 2 Clone Troopers Battle Pack, then the 2011 ETH Koth Troopers, and then the final row back there are some of the more recent Battle Pack Clone Troopers. We've got one set worth of the 501st Specialist Troopers, one set worth of the 332nd Troopers with helmet holes. There's even Vaughn back there, and then one set worth of the 2024 Clone Trooper versus Battle Droids Battle Pack Clone Troopers. At the front of the next section, I have 12 of the 2013 501st Troopers. Pretty cool to see all those blue arms, but behind all of them, I have 420 of the 501st Troopers from the 2020 501st Battle Pack and the 501st Foil Pack. It's an insane collection to see. I have like tons of sealed foil packs and battle packs, but really those are reserved to sell on MandRshop.com, and so I don't think I'll really be adding many more 501st Clone Troopers to my army, plus 420 might just be a good number to stop at. Although maybe 501 would be a more appropriate number for the 501st Legion. I'm not sure. Comment below. Should I get 81 more and just round it out? So while it'd be reasonable to assume that the 501st section is my favorite in the army, it's really not, because the classic section exists here. I have 43 of the classic 2005 442nd Troopers. These things are not cheap, but in some cases, I basically got paid to take them because I basically found a loophole on a Lego website to be able to get a bunch of these. And I explained it in a video about how to build your clone army in cheap different ways. And it's one of the most unique ways that I've ever been able to obtain clone troopers, by buying the magnet version of the figure. So a bunch of these guys actually have a magnet on the back. Here, let me just stick them onto my computer here. So they literally can magnetize, you get the point. But because of that, I was able to find a listing for the magnet figures, and they were way cheaper. I basically probably paid about $10 a figure, if not less, on these 442nd Troopers, and they're worth at least $50 to $70 each. Like, it's absurd how great of a deal I got on those. I don't think I did quite as well on my 2005 Episode 3 Kashyyyk Troopers, but they look fantastic in that sand green. And then flanking them, we have 70 more 2005 Episode 3 Clone Troopers. Those ones are fresh. I think I got a good deal on them, but I can't remember. It's been a few years. Behind them is a section of 154 Episode 2 Clone Troopers from 2002, with Jedi Bob leading them. Is that not incredible? Now, the only reason I have this many 2002 Clone Troopers is because I was able to buy the Clone Army building event box for a stellar deal, and it included about 150 of these guys. I paid under market value and got a really cool box that is super rare. Now, directly behind them, I have an army of 144 of the Clone Command Station Episode 2 Clone Troopers. They're a mixed armor style, so they're also technically Clone Wars Clone Troopers, which I don't really love that idea about it, because Clone Wars Clone Troopers, in my eyes, have a very unique look, but nonetheless,
there's 144 there, and they look really cool in mass behind the 154 2002 Clone Troopers. Moving into our final row, we have Commander Gree, flanked by 76 of the Kashyyyk Scout Troopers, the modern ones, not the classic ones, and then we have 36 of the Kashyyyk Phase 2 Clone Troopers back there from the battle packs, and I think these look amazing in mass. I bought almost all of these at conventions in the last couple of years from two separate people, so basically half and half in two separate transactions, and I was done. So that part of the army came together very nicely. I did not have a lot of these Kashyyyk Troopers before, even though I was around when the battle pack was out in 2014. I just didn't buy a lot of them, but now I have. Behind that, we have 12 of the 2011 ARF Trooper. This is another one like that Bomb Squad Trooper. I just sold a bunch that I had, and I wish I had more, but I still now only have 12, and it's kind of sad to me. Maybe that's one I'll go back and try to get some more of. We've got 86 of what is arguably the most iconic Clone Trooper design ever, the 2008 Clone Wars Clone Trooper, and we have a couple of the jetpack ones from 2009 there. I loved when they introduced that jetpack piece. That's just such a classic time for LEGO Star Wars to me, and I think those clones in particular look fantastic. It's another clone type that I sold quite a few of the ones that I owned during like 2018 or 2019, I think, but I've definitely come back to and wish I did not sell them. The final section here is another one of my favorites with the 212th Troopers. Up front, we've got 24 of the 212th Airborne Troopers, and I have so many of these because I think they're one of the best Clone Troopers LEGO's ever made, and they're certainly one of the last great Clone Troopers that LEGO has made to this point with so many blunders in recent years. These ones have waist capes, and they have a fantastic design, and they look good, so I do really love those Airborne Troopers, and I'm glad that I went out of my way to buy so many. Right when they were retiring, I went on eBay and Bricklink and bought as many as I could get my hands on because I realized they probably just weren't going to make clones like that anymore. So glad I did that. Then we have the 212 Troopers. Now, all of these 212 Troopers have replica helmets on them. The LEGO helmet on these guys looks terrible. I have a bunch of replica helmets on MandRshop.com if you're interested in making your clone army look a little bit better than what LEGO's willing to give you for your money. So those are all 1,800 plus Clone Troopers in my army, and before we get into all of the vehicles in the army, I just want to say I'm really proud of how diverse I've been able to make my clone army. The 332nd Troopers, 187th, the green over here on the left, and the orange from the 187th, even though I had to replace the helmets because Legos are trash. Like, the last Clone Army video I made, I swear, it's just white and blue. And so I was looking at that and I was like, man, it's kind of crazy how much more color this one has. Maybe all the monochrome figures help a lot too, but I'm very proud of how I've been able to actually build out my army with other factions that aren't just regular Clone Troopers or 501st Clone Troopers. Now, I do have the official UCS Venator, but this is a custom one by Republic Bricks, and part of what I'm going to talk about later is exactly why the official one isn't in the army, but this Republic Bricks one does look really nice in that Revenge of the Sith style. But we'll move to the right. We have one 2022 ATTE. We've got a Bark Speeder with sidecar. We've got a 2016 Turbo Tank. We've got a few of those 2013 Battle Pack builds. To the right, a bunch of Clone Walker Battle Pack builds. One of the Jedi and Clone Troopers Battle Pack Republic Gunship micro build that's, it's an aesthetic. Then we have the Republic Fighter Tank from 2022 with a couple of the little turrets from 2007 and the Swamp Speeder from 2005. Then we have the goated 2005 Bark Speeder along with a bunch of speeders from the 2011 Clone Battle Pack and a Z95 Headhunter. Whipping over to the left, we've got more Bark Speeder bikes, including one of the more unique ones from the Battle on Seleucami set in 2014. We've got two Republic Swamp Speeders from 2010. I do think these are the best designed Swamp Speeders that LEGO has made. We've got the 2014 V-Wing, a couple of 2006 V-Wings, and then the Republic Bricks Munilus 10 ARC 170, which is just gorgeous. Love the look on that thing. We've got more of the speeder bikes from 2011. We've got the 2008 ATAP, the 2013 501st ATRT that's missing like a little antenna pieces, and then we've got a bunch of 501st Battle Pack builds from 2020. This is way less than what I would own. Obviously, I have a lot of the troopers. I decided not to build all of the builds because it felt redundant and unnecessary, and it would have taken forever to put together, and I just didn't want to do it, didn't want to have it, and so I think I settled on, about 12 of the builds there. I felt like that was enough for me, and I feel like anything more would just feel ridiculously excessive. Above all that, I have 4 Republic gunships along with 3 Freako speeders. The Freako speeder is mad underrated, by the way, but that 2023 Coruscant Guard gunship inspired me to do some recolors of it. We have the Munilist 10, the Wolfpack, and a regular Republic gunship, all based on that 2023 design. It's probably not the best design they could make. It's a little too downsized for me. It's basically missing a section in the middle, kind of, and it's got the single door, but, you know, flaws aside, I do think they do look really nice all together like that. It definitely makes you forget about the flaws that they have. So I'm really happy with those recolors, and I'll have a video out on the channel showing how I did all of that, but it was relatively easy, you know, the instructions sucking aside. Next up, we've got the V19 Torrent from 2008. The stickers are unfortunately starting to really peel on this one, but that's just what happens with some of the sets that age. We've got a couple of the newer Kashyyyk ATRT builds. Very nice colorway, and then the 2005 Kashyyyk Clone Scout Walker that looks great too, but in its own style. We have the Geonosius Battle Pack Clone Walker there, which is not as good looking, but I figured I'd throw it next to them for scale. And then at the very back, I wanted to have some big stuff back there, but I didn't have quite enough table space like I had on the sides, so I put it up flying. But we have a Wolfpack gunship from Republic Bricks. That one is much larger than the custom one that I built there, so it just kind of depends on what you're into, but that one is pretty nice. We've got the 2009 Clone Wars attack shuttle there that looks fantastic, kind of in the middle of the army. And then we've got another Republic Bricks custom gunship with the Munilist 10 gunship. And again, it's just much bigger than the one that I have over here. And I would also argue more accurate to some of the sections that a gunship should have. I worked in some of the newer battle pack builds here with the cannon, the swamp speeder, and then the speeder bike with barricade. Then we have some of the 2007 speeder bikes that are just classic, timeless speeder bikes. We've got the AV7 cannon, which is fantastic looking there. I do wish I had more of those in the army, but I only did ever buy the one. And then we've got a 2012 clone cannon. So it's the cannon trio there for Clone Troopers. For the fun of it, I threw the buildable character Commander Cody at the back, and then we have the Republic dropship with ATOT. It's one of the most coveted LEGO Star Wars sets of all time, and to this day, I still don't think they'll ever remake it, but if they ever do, or if you ever have the chance to grab this one, definitely take that opportunity. Then we have a fighter tank from 2017, and finally, my favorite custom build in the entire Clone Army, the UTAT from Republic Bricks. I think this is phenomenal. It's another build that I just don't think LEGO Star Wars will ever do for whatever reason. They never made those Galactic Marines that I talked about wanting earlier. They would definitely go in this set, but, you know, it's just not something I see them doing. So this is one of my favorite builds that Republic Bricks has sent me, and I've done a review of on the channel. I think it looks fantastic within the Clone Army. But now we got to talk about some stuff over here, the stuff that's not in the Army. So for some of the stuff over here, the answer is quite simple. It literally did not fit on the table for the Clone Army over there. And so this dropship with ATOT that I've done a video on from Republic Bricks, and this giant Republic attack shuttle that Republic Bricks sent me, a UCS one, it just didn't fit on the table, and so I didn't include it as part of like the main Clone Army. We also have all of those clone helmets that I replaced in the cup there. To briefly explain why my Clone Army is not as big as it could have been, we are in my studio room / collecting room where I film a lot of other YouTube videos, and you can see how I've displayed a lot of my collection, and this includes quite a few of my Clone Trooper vehicles, including another ATTE from 2022, the gorgeous Coruscant Police gunship, and then we have the 2008 ATTE and Republic fighter tank that could have been added to my army, as well as 2 more sets of dropships and ATOTs from Republic Bricks that I'm making content on, and the classic Republic gunships that I own. Why are they all in boxes and not in the army? Well, it's just so simple that my collecting priorities have changed, and so while I may still have a copy of the ATTE that I'm willing to put out and let get dusty, I also have one that I want to keep perfectly clean in a display cabinet, and if it sat out in the open for a couple of weeks and got dusty, I wouldn't be very happy with that. I didn't invest all my money into these nice shelves with dust weather stripping so that sets could come out and get dusty. I invested it so that they would stay clean in there. And the reason for wanting perfectly clean sets like this is twofold. One, I just want it as part of my collection, and I think it's really cool to have a bunch of pristine LEGO Star Wars sets from over the years, but also the goal is to have every set ever in my collection. My channel is not necessarily just for Clone Army building. That's kind of the side goal to the main goal of getting every other set brand new and having it beautifully on display. And then, as far as content on my YouTube channel channel goes, I can pull them out of the cases at any time I need and do comparison videos. And the same can be said for my minifigure collection here. I mean, I have tons of other Clone Troopers that are separated by the year they were released, but didn't end up making it into the Clone Army video, as I want to keep a separate collection of just one of everything that LEGO has ever released in as good of condition as I can keep it. So that's kind of how my collecting priorities have changed since my last Clone Army video, and I don't anticipate it will change much more from that, but I will continue to try to grow the Clone Army separate from my collection of one of everything in LEGO Star Wars history.
Anyway, I hope you did enjoy the 2024 edition of my Clone Army showcase. The next Clone Army video I make will be in about 2 years following the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. I want to wait and see what sets might come out with different Clone Trooper types that I could possibly add to the army within that year. And lastly, for anyone that's interested in what the most efficient way to build their own Clone Army would be, I've actually made an entire video on the subject giving 7 of the best practices that you can put into use to help build your army bigger and more efficiently as far as your money goes. So definitely check that out on the end screen now.